South Carolinians live in two different worlds. Drive the state's interstate highways, and you'll pass vibrant downtowns, expanding suburbs, verdant farms, and pristine forests, rivers, and wetlands. But turn off the interstates onto the back roads, and you'll see something else. Boarded up towns, fallow fields, ghost motels, factory shells, people with nothing to do. This is the other South Carolina, the part that many prefer to forget as they boast of the state's natural beauty, history, architecture, tourist attractions, BMWs, and Boeings. This South Carolina was left behind as the metropolitan and coastal areas advanced in recent decades in education, health, and economic opportunity, now mirroring the nation as a whole. Forgotten South Carolina comprises 26 of the state's 46 counties. It almost encircles metropolitan Columbia and is home to 1/4 of the state's 4.6 million people. This is where you can clearly see the legacy of slavery and a state's disinterest in quality public education. Here, illiteracy passes through generations like an inherited disease. 1 out of 5 people lives in poverty, and untreated chronic disease debilitates and kills people before their time. While the state does little to improve the situation, the people of forgotten South Carolina struggle to do their best. In the tiny town of Somerton, a handful of black residents fought for something simple more than half a century ago. All they wanted was for the state to provide a bus to take black children to and from their segregated school. Their effort would lead to the U.S. Supreme Court's momentous 1954 decision in Brown v. the Board of Education, outlawing racial segregation in public schools. Today, in Somerton, the fight for a decent public education continues. The Clarendon District 1 School District is among the numerous poor South Carolina districts that began a lawsuit against the state 20 years ago, trying to force the state to provide enough money to help them give students a minimally adequate education, the level required by state law. The state Supreme Court is expected to hand down a decision later this year. In the meantime, Clarendon District 1 has managed to lift its schools from among the state's worst to the second best performing high poverty school system in the state. Its school superintendent, Dr. Rose Wilder, did that not with money, but with a change in attitude.
I grew up in the same kind of environment that our school district is in. And I have administrators who I feel share the same philosophy that I do, that we have to expect high expectations from our students. And if you expect them to give you, they will perform and give back to you.
She invested time and effort in helping her teachers and administrators improve their educational skills.
She's passionate. We have probably taken on her personality and her passion. Ongoing training, ongoing push for excellence.
You know, when we have the support of the administration, it makes teaching much easier. You know, that we have to understand where these students, they understand their background, and so that we can better fine-tune our teaching to help improve, to help them reach their fullest potential.
She made academics the #1 goal.
You exceeded on 4.
She insisted on high expectations and respect from students and demanded the same from them. She pushed for hands-on teaching. And she sought out teachers and administrators with a love of teaching and a heart for children.
If you have high expectations, the students get used to it. I don't really need them to like me. I do need them to respect me. I can't set the expectations low because they'll only reach so high. So the higher you get the expectation, the higher the student will try to reach to get there.
In the process, she helps show that poverty does not have to be a barrier to good education. 96% of the children in her school receive free or reduced lunches. Still, Wilder can only do so much. She can't create money. The money the poor district and dozens like it across South Carolina need from the state so they can offer their children the same educational advantages enjoyed by students in better-off districts. Advantages enjoyed by schools such as Charleston's Wando High School, where students can select from a wide range of advanced placement classes that give them a leg up when they go to college. Governor Nikki Haley readily acknowledges the disparities in education, healthcare, and economic opportunity faced by those in forgotten South Carolina. And last year, she launched a personal effort to help residents of the hardest up communities. She started in Allendale County, the state's poorest, bringing with her a team of volunteers and representatives of state agencies and businesses to offer residents help with job applications, screenings, and educational opportunity. Haley offered them encouragement and expressed hope that they would be inspired and empowered to organize their own efforts to improve their communities. But she didn't offer any actual state action or commitment to tackle the very disparities she was there to help overcome, other than to repeat her promise to try to recruit more jobs for rural areas. Still, many in some of the counties she visited said they were heartened that Haley at least paid attention to them. In Marion County, for example, residents turned out in the hundreds in June when Haley showed up with her team of volunteers. In Columbia, Governor Haley and her Health and Human Services Director, Tony Keck, have vowed to reject federal efforts to extend Medicaid to 500,000 South Carolinians without health insurance. Those uninsured account for 10% of the state's people, and most are working poor, many holding 2 jobs but never making enough to afford health care. But Haley and Keck say the state can't afford to expand Medicaid to them, even though the federal government will pay 90% of the cost. Some of the uninsured are lucky. They live in counties such as Beaufort, once notorious for its unhealthy conditions. It's now the state's healthiest county. High-end developments along the county's coast and bustling retirement communities are likely the main reasons for the good health. But those in Beaufort without health insurance can turn to the Comprehensive Health Clinic. Last year, the clinic handled some 100,000 visits for health care, providing it free or on a reduced scale based on the ability to pay. The clinic has served the county for more than 40 years, since the late 1960s, when it was founded after the nation was shocked by newsreel scenes of the county's poverty and dismal health. Since then, the clinic has been funded by millions in federal grants and almost nothing from the state of South Carolina. That lack of significant state investment in the basic building blocks of its society, education, health, and economic opportunity, remains the key reason why South Carolina can't shake the sorry legacies of its past, and why so many of its residents remain trapped in ignorance, sickness, and poverty. It's why 3 generations of women from the same family wait together in the pre-dawn darkness along an Allendale County highway for a bus to take them 80 miles from the state's poorest, most unhealthy county to minimum wage housekeeping jobs in the resorts of Hilton Head. That's the ugly reality of forgotten South Carolina. It should serve as a call to action for our state's leaders and for all South Carolinians. It won't be easy or quick to bring the basis that will attract good, well-paying jobs or improve overall health. The roots of the problem run deep, but the solution begins with better education across the state. With visionary, aggressive leadership and popular support, South Carolina can move from a legacy of shame to a blueprint for the future.